Hello everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp and to the video where we look at some of the games we've been playing over the last week.
Yeah, we've got 6 games to talk about today. A mixture of games, different genres. Some have been out for a while, some are pretty new out, I would guess.
Yeah, all genres. It's not all genres.
Catering everyone.
All needs.
Quite literally.
So, what are the interesting games we've been playing? But before that, make sure you save yourself some money on your Switch eShop credit over at switchup.gg. You'll instantly get 5% back in cashback, and you still get your gold coins on the eShop, Glen.
You do indeed, yeah. It's worth doing. Well worth doing.
More than worth it. So, what are the interesting games? Well, let's find out. Thanks to Obsidian, who have sponsored this episode, which is pretty epic in and of itself, with their game Grounded, which is now out on Nintendo Switch. All the prices, as well as the download size, you can see down at the bottom of the screen. This is the fully yoked edition, and this version comes with all of the content that's been released and updated over the years. And I described it in our dedicated video as essentially Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game. You can play solo or with up to 4 of you online, where you'll have a massive playground of the back garden. You'll have to fight against different insects, gather up materials, and then scan them to unlock new recipes. This version also comes with a new game plus mode, and it's absolutely massive. You're looking at least 50 to 100 hours. And obviously if you do have a group of you to play online with, there's going to be a lot more. Go check out our full sponsored video for this one. It will give you all of the information that you need to know, as well as a little bit of gameplay of Glen and I. All the links to it are down in the description. If you want to support us and check out the game, go click them. Thanks so much to Obsidian for sponsoring this episode. I'm going to start us off then, Glen, and I'm going to show you it while I'm talking about it, because it's that simple, it's that tranquil that I can both talk and play at the same time.
Nice, that's what you want.
It's exactly what you want. It's a game called Stitch that I thought, when I saw it on the Indie Direct, looked, I have to be polite here, a bit rubbish.
That's nice and polite, yeah.
Thank you. So it's basically trying to channel the experience of knitting and turn it into a puzzle game.
Okay, yeah.
So you choose one of the hoops, as they're called.
What is a hoop?
Well, I think hoop is the little round thing that you use for knitting.
Oh, okay. Like, yeah, all right, I'm with you, yeah.
Yeah? And then it like stretches over
that's
it, doesn't
embroidery
it?
though, that's not knitting, is it?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
But this is knitting though, right?
Well, I'm questioning myself now, but either way, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure it's knitting.
Okay. I mean, maybe you can knit on a hoop. I wouldn't...
Let us know in the comments, can you knit on a hoop?
Normally you knit a jumper, don't you? Or a scarf or something.
Can you knit on a hoop?
You know, I can't knit anywhere.
So basically, it's a bit like, what's that game on PC? Minesweeper. So it tells you how many spaces you need to essentially fill, and then you're trying to figure out the puzzle quite quickly. But obviously it's kind of in your own time. Yeah. But it gets more and more complex the further you go on. But it is really quite relaxing.
So okay, so when you say Minesweeper, you mean whereas the squares are touching, and you need to, the number will tell you how many
exactly
are touching that numbered square, or squares related to that numbered square.
Yeah. So here you literally, the number will tell you how many spaces you need to swipe across.
Yes.
It needs to fill that, and then you've got to fit all of them in without overlapping or anything like that.
So obviously in Minesweeper, if you got it wrong, the bomb blew up. What happens in this game if you get it wrong? Do
you just swipe back? You just swipe back and carry on. There is also a hints mode as well for people that are really struggling, because believe it or not, it does get difficult.
What would be nice is if, it wouldn't be nice, but quite funny, is if it just let you mess up your embroidery.
Yeah.
And you didn't, at the end, when you had to show it off in your little gallery, it just looked rubbish.
Yeah.
And it was there forever. And you'd have to look at it and go, I messed that stitch up, didn't I?
It's one of those that's like really chill. You think like, how's that even fun? I'm going to stick you on it for a minute while I still carry on talking about it. Honestly, I think you'll enjoy it. So there's a mode called Marathon Mode, which are huge embroideries. Of like things like London skyline, maps and things like that, trains. And obviously they're designed to be done over hours. They're absolutely giant. So Glen is literally playing in the background. Let's see how he gets on. But the game is designed just to be, I think, a relaxing puzzle experience. Now, although you can't hear the music, it's very chill. And I was surprised as well by how challenging it is. Now, you've picked that right up straight away.
No bother.
Not a problem at all.
If knitting is this easy, I might take it up.
But as I say, when I saw it on the Indie Direct, I could see it never getting covered on any channels. So I was really keen that we kind of check it out and see how it works. I can only see the solution to the one he's working on right now. If you make a mistake, you can kind of swipe back on where you were to undo it.
I'm just checking how it deals with you making mistakes.
Right. Oh,
I'm just seeing what happens.
Purpose.
Yeah.
Right,
I genuinely am. I just want to see what happens if it tells you straight away, or if you finish and then it's...
No, it doesn't tell you.
Right, okay, well that's quite good, because I was a bit worried that it was going to be just a case of like, no, you're wrong.
No, that would be really lame.
No, fair enough. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, that's quite cool. So when would you know? So you'd get to then just think that
it goes red. Right. It will go like red.
Yeah.
If you're wrong.
And you can, oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
You see that like red hash pattern in between it.
Yeah, I see. So if you do too many squares, it will tell you you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's shaking its head at me.
Yeah. So you have to do your 8 first. I think if you tried to do, I won't even let you go there, will it? Oh, that is the right answer.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well done, me.
Okay, yeah, I can see that being quite fun. I
think it's more the relaxation side,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Super chill.
It reminds me of, so you mentioned obviously Minesweeper, but again, Picross is another one that's quite similar in some regards to how that works. Perhaps slightly more pressured.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think your missus would like this.
Yeah.
So you do get a score, and it like rewards you for like not using hints and stuff like that. So it's not completely without drive.
Yeah, because that's what she does in games such as that. So Picross being the main one, where she'll complete the puzzle, get whatever it is, a percentage or a ranking, and then she'll go back and try and get a perfect score on it. So as long as it's got something like that on it.
Yeah, it has, and then it will have ranked hoops. So as you go up in rank, it will give you more and more complex ones.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was really just enjoying it, just playing in bed, chilling.
Yeah, that seems quite nice and laid back.
Exactly.
Well, one I've been playing recently anyway is one that's not laid back at all.
Oh.
You've been playing it too, actually.
Oh, Cuphead.
Cuphead, yeah, we've been playing Cuphead. We're on the last boss.
We are.
Well, the last bosses.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this game's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so tough. But I don't particularly enjoy hard games. I play games to relax. Not necessarily knitting, relaxing, but But this is one game that is annoying that I can play and still enjoy despite it being annoying,
I'm calling BS on that statement.
Why?
Right? Because Glen is an arcade gamer.
Yeah.
And every game you've ever showed me that are in your favourites are nails. They're like nails.
Yeah.
Things like, any of them. Like all the Control games, I can't even get past the front loading screen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? I don't consider those hard games, despite the fact they are hard. I don't mean because I find them easy.
Okay, so there must be a style of hard game.
Yeah, I think there is. Maybe like the new age hard. Do you know what I mean? Where everything has to have you go and collect your rucksack or your whatever that you've lost and all that. Maybe that's what I consider hard these days. Whereas games that are hard but have that arcade loop of you almost expect to die, I'm quite happy with. And maybe that's why I like Cuphead, because I expect to die 20 times before finally beating a boss, I
think there's something we definitely have to record after we've recorded this.
Yeah.
There's a little fountain you can go to, and it shows you how many times you've died.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
I've been playing this with my daughter just to see. I said to her, like, this is her graduation. Like, you know what, this is going to sound terrible, but I wouldn't let her play any other games till we beat the first boss. And we were there together for a good, 2 hours.
Jeez.
When she beat that boss, man, the look in her face, she was like, I've graduated. I was like, yes, you have. Go, my child.
Your initiation to gaming.
But that took us 177 deaths.
Jeez, really? I didn't realise it counted. I like that, actually. I do like that. The masochistic side of me quite enjoys.
I'd say we're in the thousands.
Oh, all day long. It's not even debatable, is it? But yeah, it's funny with Cuphead because you play a boss and you die repeatedly. One of you will utter the phrase, "This is the hardest boss yet.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. It's disgusting. This is a joke," etc., etc. You'll beat it. You'll play the next boss. Give it 10 goes. You'll say the same thing again. You know?
Oh, it's just unbelievable. Here's a nice little challenge for the audience. In the comments, say how many deaths you think we've had. We'll show it maybe right at the end, and then give a free game to the person closest. They won't be able to edit the comment because it will show up. So it has to be an unedited comment from before, obviously, let's say the first hour of release or something. No, the first 10 minutes of release it would have to be, wouldn't it? Can't see to the end of the video.
Why don't we just put the number in a community post
That's
a couple of days later?
That's what we'll do.
Because that's such a flawed way of doing it.
So flawed.
You can't edit. No, that's all right. Well, I'll just watch the video and then write the comment.
Idiots.
Where's my game?
Foiled again. What's that? You've got to give away 76 games, Mark. You plonker, Rodney.
Oh dear. It was good intentions.
It really was.
It was really, really good intentions.
But that's how this works. It's a dream team.
Yeah.
Right? We refine the idea. Now we have the best idea.
We usually refine the idea off camera.
I like this.
But that was nice. Nice little
podcast the episode.
Exactly. But no, back to Cuphead.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what's your hardest boss? Would you say?
Well, funny enough,
I'm not putting you on the spot.
No, you're not.
You ready for it?
Here I am, ready. Look at me, barefoot and all. We really are living the dream here, aren't we?
For sure.
There's a boss early on, actually. It's a lady. She's in like a castle.
Yep.
Pink castle, and out of the door she comes and she releases different enemies towards you. One of them's like spitting out all these candy things. There's a Pac-Man one that comes after you.
Oh, I do remember it, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might even have a bit of footage of this. It's disgusting. Like, because the thing is, early on, you haven't got any of the things, you haven't got any of like the extra life. You haven't got the homing bullets.
Yeah.
You've got nothing.
Yeah.
And it was it was a disgrace.
Right. Yeah.
So for me, it's been that one.
No, fair enough. Mine was the ghost train.
Oh yeah.
One. Well, it's not ghost trains. It's like a carousel or something. I can't remember now. It's like fun fair based, isn't it? If we hadn't played that in 2-player, I don't know if I'd have ever beaten the boss. It was so. My brain kept melting. I couldn't deal with it.
It was quite weird, wasn't it? I kept like going into these trance-like states.
Yeah.
And becoming indestructible.
Yeah. I will give you that. I will say it here now for the world to hear. There was a boss where I can't remember which boss or what, but you kind of said, so I died, and then you were like, no, I'm beating it, and it was about half of the boss still to go. Again, full credit to you. And he just like zoned out, went into this zen state, like Matrix state. You can always see the metaphorical slow-mo bullets firing at you, and you like doing all the acrobatics to move around them whilst we were sitting there. And you beat them. You didn't even speak again. You're like,
I didn't take a hit, did I?
No, it was crazy. No, I'll give you that. That was good.
Man, that's what Cuphead is all about. Such a good game.
Yeah.
So good. You should buy it.
Yeah, it's very good. Even if you don't like hard games, I mean, there are ways to enjoy it still if you are happy to expect to die a lot. Yeah, if that makes sense.
I think that really does make sense. Yeah, great game. So next up, then, well, I've got a few different choices. I'm actually going to go for Tales of Kenzera. Hang on, I need to say it right. Tales of Kenzera, Zao.
Yep.
Or Z-A-U. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I'm going to go with Zao.
I know one of them is the name of the character and one of them is the place it takes place. So Zao is the name of the character.
Right.
Only because I did the blurb for the upcoming games the other day, or read the blurb, I should say. Sorry.
Nice.
And seem to remember hearing or reading that.
Yeah, very good. So yeah, I think this is coming out in a really unfortunate time. You can only imagine them developing this, you know, they're at the final stages last couple of months. They go online and see the new Prince of Persia game.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a Metroidvania, you've got a similar aesthetic, but then you've got 60 FPS, super silky. That would cause me issues, you know, I would be struggling. And I think a lot of people are looking at this going, oh, it's just a copycat. It's a copycat of that game. Or it's like, oh, it's just another Metroidvania. Now, I'm not going to say that it doesn't do a lot of the Metroidvania tropes. You can jump off of walls, you can switch between two forms like the moon and the sun and then do their magical abilities in the combat. But I do think it has its own thing, I have to say, and I wasn't expecting that. Now, firstly, the storyline is way deeper than the Prince of Persia game.
Right.
It's all about loss. Basically, the main character has had a loss in their life, and there's a book that's been written, I believe, by that loved one, and then they start to read that book, and then you experience the world through that.
I see.
And they're trying to heal through that experience, and fair play. I think this is like an EA independent studio or something.
It's their label that publishes indie games.
Right,
so
okay.
they published It Takes Two, for example, you know?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people might take one look at that, hear EA, and kind of go, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I think that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
The only thing with the Switch version, again, is 30 FPS here after playing that 60 frames per second version, Metroidvania. It's difficult to go back.
Prince of Persia, you mean?
Prince of Persia, sorry. It's difficult to go back to that 30, but it's fine. You know, once you've kind of got to grips with it, it's fine. It feels a little bit more like Guacamelee. I always say that wrong. It feels wrong. Guacamelee?
Guacamelee, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the emphasis on melee attacks.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. It feels a bit more like that in that you have your little sections and then you kind of get locked in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, you have your little bit of brawl, and then you move on to the next area.
Right.
Now, I'm only an hour and a half tops. I was playing this last night when I ordered that very late night pizza I shouldn't have done. That's my online confession, by the way.
Yeah, does it make you feel better?
No, I'm hungry.
It's not worked at all then, is it?
No, not at
Complete
all.
adverse effect.
But yeah, so far I think it's far better than I thought it would be. Now, I haven't really got an idea of price on this one. Do you remember from the upcoming games at all?
It would have been at the bottom of the screen as we were talking. It's probably flashed off now, but it would have been down there. What I do know about it is that the story was based on real experience.
Right, okay,
I know
that
that
explains
much.
it. Okay.
It was made by, or conceptually, it was from a gentleman called, and apologies if I get the name wrong, it's Abubakar Salim.
Right.
Who is an actor who created the development studio.
I know this, yes.
Yeah, as I said, it's based on his life experience, which I suppose, as you've just said, in terms of immediately saying it's a better story than the other game you mentioned, that I suppose it shines through that.
Completely does. You know, it felt like it was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some of the things they were saying and stuff, and obviously we've both had loss in the last few years. Some of the things they were saying, you're like, wow.
Hits home.
It hits home.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying, you know, and trying to remember that person and forgetting what they look like and things like that. It was just really well handled. So yeah, don't just look at the, no offense, EA bit and go, oh, you know, not interested.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think when you think of EA, you can think of EA as in FIFA or any other game you care to mention. But then there is this other label with games like It Takes Two, Unravel is another one. You know, they're different. They're just a different section of EA, but in terms of heart and you know, they're a different animal to other games that EA obviously publish. Yeah,
but so far this one's really good. So yeah, if you're considering another Metroidvania, it might be worth looking into.
Lovely stuff. Okay, well my next one it's Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express.
Why did I just hear Murder on the Dance Floor when you said that?
By her, what's her name? Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
Such a bad song, but so addictive. You better not feel the groove.
She had the most English voice ever.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
In a song.
It's Murder on the Dance Floor.
Dance floor.
DJ, we're going to burn this house right down. Oh no, you're not, Sophie. No murders.
Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh yeah, we're talking about games.
We were, yeah, not pop culture.
No, but now everyone knows the singing capabilities. Sing up, let's go.
Sing up. Balls up, more like. Complete and utter. Now this is so it's based on the novel 1934. The novel came out. Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. Yeah.
Wow, she was writing during a difficult period, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was, and it's like a modern reinterpretation of the story. Now I'm not going to pretend for a second I've read the source material, I haven't, but from what I understand, it takes the core element, obviously being the Orient Express. It was like an inter-European train line that obviously made key stops over a few days. It has to stop due to snow, heavy snow, at one of the, you know, somewhere across its journey, and obviously one of the passengers is murdered. It's a Poirot story. Hercule Poirot.
It's a good book.
The protagonist. Yeah, you read it, have you?
Nah, just heard.
Nice. Yeah, and obviously he has to solve the mystery. Now it's set in the present day, which is quite interesting.
Oh really?
It moves it to present day, while still feeling like a period piece in some ways. You know,
interesting. I like it when they do that. If they do it right.
Yeah, it definitely has that. I'd compare it. This is something I never thought I'd talk about in a.
Well, I can't wait. I'm going to put the Switch down because I think it's going to be impact.
In terms of that, you know, modernising something but making it feel old, if you like. Still, it feels like Tim Burton's 1989 Batman.
Didn't see that coming.
Where Gotham City feels very much like it's set in the 40s, but it's clearly set in the modern day in terms of technology and what have you. You know, it feels like that, and it's actually quite a good game. You know, it's one of those where you walk around as the character in the third person. You interact with the other characters. You'll obviously need to try and solve the mystery. So at times you'll be locked into a room. I mean, camera-wise, you know, not literally locked in, and you'll need to scan the environment, pick up clues. You know, move them around, manipulate them to find fingerprints, possibly, stuff like that. And then you go into like a menu where you start to take threads of evidence and deductions, your own deductions, and piece together a hypothesis of what's happened, you know?
I really like these games.
Yeah,
I would class these as like old school adventures. They're almost like a reimagination of point and clicks in many ways.
They are, yeah, I make you right. The way they work is to take that classic point and click feeling, but maybe not modernise it necessarily, but certainly feels a bit more sophisticated in terms of having to take a bunch of elements and make something out of it in terms of, like I say, a hypothesis.
Yeah, they like streamline it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say streamline, but you know, in a point and click you pick up item A, and you know at some point item A will be useful for something in terms of a puzzle. This is more about a collection of evidence. Okay. And then taking all of that evidence to deduct, or to deduce, what's happened, you know?
There's been a few games that have done similar things. I don't know if it's any, I was playing Black Sad again the other day.
Yeah, I haven't played that, but I would imagine that's very similar. Detective, isn't it? Yeah. In a noir setting. And what it does do, from what I've heard, is because I thought, well, what if you've read the book? Then you'll know who the murderer is, surely. You know, like, but apparently the actual murder on the Orient Express is only a part of the game, then it moves on to other mysteries. Right. So what I think it does, because I've just hit a point where one of the characters that you are interrogating then tells a flashback. Okay. And they are a police officer themselves, and they're telling about a case they've solved. So it feels like almost you're going to leave this story for a minute, play this subsection where you're have to solve another mystery, and then it will go back to the murder.
Right, okay.
Which is, I mean, I don't mind that. It might feel a bit disjointed after a while if it keeps happening.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep a track of one mystery myself, but it's quite a good way of, you know, giving new material to those that have read the book, and also extending the runtime of the game, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And bringing it into the modern era, they could have had Sophie Ellis-Bextor in there.
On the Orient Express.
Yeah. Imagine you got to the end of the game and it was her who did it.
You imagine that? Yeah, it was, since she did murder them on the dance floor in one of the cabins.
With a microphone.
Maybe that's what happens.
Inserted.
I haven't got I haven't got that far yet. No. So maybe that's what's happened. I'll have to write that in my notes.
You should.
Sophie Ellis-Bextor, ? Where was she on the night of the murder?
Murdering songs. All right, okay, lovely. My last one then is Firewatch.
Yeah,
I've gone back to Firewatch. After chatting with Alex from Switch Corner, we're always talking about this game.
Okay.
There's a few games that both of us tend to talk about a lot. One of them is Disco Elysium, which he introduced me to. I have to give him credit for that.
All right, yep.
Incredible game. The other is Firewatch. I completed this way back. I didn't like the end, and my brain then kind of deleted the whole game.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
The end annoyed me, and it kind of went, nah, see you later.
Yeah.
I've gone back to it, and I'm loving it. Like, it is a good game. It's an experiential game. Again, it's another one that takes a real life story, which is that his wife has got early onset dementia.
Right.
And that's in the first 2 minutes. I don't think that's a spoiler.
Okay.
Like, it's literally the opening cinematic. And then he kind of has gone away to do a number of things, really. One, to escape. Two, to, I don't know, reset and think about if he wants to stay with her. She's Australian. She's gone back to Australia.
Right.
And it's just brutal. It's another thing, like we were talking about before, that I've experienced. You know, both grandparents had that, and it's horrible.
Yeah,
It's terrible. Friends have had that, but to get that in your 40s, can you imagine?
No, it's horrific.
It's absolutely horrific. But it's delivered in such a clever way, and it's making you make those decisions. It's like, obviously, when you go to leave, you're saying your reason for leaving and stuff like that. And then anyway, you're recounting that story throughout the game through a walkie-talkie. You're the new Firewatch warden, basically.
Okay, yeah.
So you're in your little tower, and there's a lady that's talking to you. You kind of build up a relationship with her, and it's very natural. You know, they're talking about stupid things, and then like a couple of teenage girls start a fire, and obviously you have to head out. It's a massive area that you're overseeing, and it's very isolated as well, so it just kind of feeds into that communication through the walkie-talkie, walking around using ropes to like get up and down areas. It's a game like none other. I haven't played a game like this at all.
Right.
And it does, I do think you'll really like it, because in terms of storytelling, you never see the monster.
Yeah.
But it introduces an element of mystery. There's a whole mystery to it. Again, I will not go anywhere near that. That you're creating in your mind. Like, you wake up in the night one time and something happens, and it turns out it was you were kind of sleepwalking.
Right.
So you don't know what parts of it were real and stuff. And yeah, really good one. Is there a physical of this, do you know?
Not that I can think of. I mean, there are so many small print run companies these days, there may well be, but it certainly didn't get like a wider release.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit from what you've just said of the Blair Witch game.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously that's more horror driven, but in terms of kind of walking through the woods, having your radio, sometimes dealing with things that aren't your mission, your job as a police officer in that game, you know, having these personal conversations at times, flashbacks to marital issues, you know, in that particular game. Yeah, it does sound quite similar actually.
Yeah, I played that one in VR. God, that was disgusting.
Yeah.
It's so scary. It is. It's like a more open version of that, and there's quite a lot of optional stuff you can do. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it again. Really enjoying going back to it. I don't know if it would be for everyone, so I don't want to unequivocally say, check this out.
Yeah. I mean, that's what. As soon as I said earlier about Cuphead, gave that recommendation, I felt like actually, nice. Not everyone will enjoy it.
No.
It's funny with some games, isn't it? You have to be either in the mood or like a particular gameplay style to really get the best out of them.
Yeah.
It's funny as well what you just said about not liking the ending and it almost spoiling the rest of the game for you, or making you forget about it to some degree, because I have very similar feelings about a film, albeit it's the beginning I don't like.
Right.
And that's Alien 3.
I can't even remember the beginning of Alien 3.
Alien 3...
They woke up.
Well, they do wake up. Well, some of them do, that's the point. But Alien 3 had like a terrible production time. You know, went through so many rewrites, and obviously you had Aliens, which were great films, and then you had this follow-up. And I actually really like Alien 3. I think it's a very good film. It's David Fincher. I think it was his first film. I don't think he likes it at all. I think he's because there was a lot of studio interference, and you know, a lot going on. But the start of the film, spoilers for the end of Aliens if you haven't seen it, so just bear that in mind. Start of the film kills off most of the characters that survived the end of Aliens, and you're like, are you taking the, you know, like you've just ruined another film for the sake of the beginning of your film. And if you could somehow just cut that bit out, the rest of Alien 3 I think is great, but it spoils itself and its predecessor in the first 10 minutes, you know? That
really is a strange decision, isn't it?
Well, they didn't. Well, I don't think they wanted those actors or those characters in it anymore, because they didn't
leave them frozen.
Well, yeah, they could have left them in cryo sleep or something, but they felt they wanted Ripley and no one else. They wanted her to be alone again. But yeah, just a similar sort of feelings, but the other way around, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what's your last one?
My last one is, so basically I went on the Switch Online Super Nintendo app the other day, because I'd seen that Super R-Type had been released on it. And I've never played that. I've played R-Type 3, but I hadn't played this one. And when I went on there, I saw that Killer Instinct had been released on there at some point, which I didn't even realise.
Nice.
Must have been relatively recently. I loved that game.
Yeah.
So I booted it up and had a bit of time on Killer Instinct. So that's the one I'm going to talk about.
Was that the N64 or the SNES?
Super Nintendo Killer Instinct was based on the arcade game, which came out in '94.
Yeah.
So the SNES one came out in '95, and then you had Killer Instinct Gold on the N64, which was a port of Killer Instinct 2 from the arcades.
Right.
So yeah, it's the first game, a port of the arcade game, if you like. But it's just very impressive what they managed to do on the Super Nintendo. But what I love about it is, like, when it was announced, when Killer Instinct was announced, it was meant to be on the N64.
Right.
And they did a whole big, I remember like gaming magazines at the time, it's coming to the Ultra 64 as it was called then. This is when the name was going to be the Ultra 64. And obviously that never materialised, it went to the Super Nintendo instead. But yeah, in terms of what they managed to achieve and pack into a cartridge, it's a very impressive game, you know?
Yeah, I remember this being like top tier graphics. As a kid, I was like, wow, like this is the future.
Yeah, because you had that pre-rendered look.
Yeah.
Which Donkey Kong Country used as well, because this is from Rare.
Yeah.
And obviously at the time, so 95, yeah, PlayStation's out. Super Nintendo is starting to be seen as old hat. Its graphics are seen as primitive. That pixel look is, no one likes it anymore.
Yeah.
3D is the way. And then you had this strange pre-rendered 2D but slightly 3D look.
Hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, that people went mad for. And but aside from the graphics, like the things this game did, like as far as I know at least, it was the first fighting game that introduced you having 2 health bars, but the round didn't end when you won. So, you know, generally round 1, whoever wins, round 2, possibly a round 3 if needed. Here, if you beat your opponent, they fell to the floor, their health bar refilled for their second health bar, but you stayed as you were.
Oh,
so it gave you more of an advantage because you still had your health from that round, plus another health bar when the time came. But what that meant was, if you lost your health bar, for the first 10 seconds of your second health bar, you become very aggressive.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to beat them quick and get them down to 1 health bar too. And generally in fighting games that doesn't happen. No. So it's a different dynamic, you know?
Yeah, I like the sound of that. There was another fighting game, I'm trying to put my finger on it, that had it's like Clay Fighters.
Clay Fighters, yeah.
That was another one, right?
Yeah, it was.
Was that on the SNES as well?
That was, yes, it was on the Super Nintendo. I think you had Clay Fighter and Clay Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Which was called something like Judgment Clay or something.
Right, okay.
And then you had Clay Fighters 63 1/3, which was on the N64.
Yes.
And I don't know why, I can't remember now, but there's a version of that that's really rare, like very expensive. It was something like it was a Blockbuster Videos special edition, or there was a tournament and there were special versions made via Blockbusters or something.
Yeah.
I know there's something about that game that's quite unique, you know?
I can't hear Blockbusters without being there.
I know, yeah.
It's so sad, isn't it?
It is sad.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it is sad. And this, I mean, you know, now your Blockbusters is Netflix or...
Yeah, but going into the place used to be so good, wouldn't it? Be like, should we watch a film on a Friday? And then you go down there.
Yeah.
And there'd be an experience.
Where I lived as a kid, so North London, there was a chain. I don't know if it was like an independent chain or one that was wider spread, but it was called Hollywood Videos.
Yes.
So it's basically Blockbusters, you know. But yeah, again, going down there, you go to the chip shop on your way home or whatever as well. You know, as a kids, you could pick a film. Your mum and dad would pick one for them as well, you know. Like, what I miss most about shops like that are the movie posters. It's not even the actual films, it's the movie posters. I remember seeing posters for things like It and Hellraiser and like the Nightmare on Elm Street films that are so iconic to this day that when I see them, it takes me back to that shop and seeing them on the wall, you know.
So good. I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's good. It's a shame that a whole generation of people haven't even experienced that. You know, it was great. It was great. Lovely stuff. Well, that's our picks for this week.
Those are the ones.
Let us know what you've been playing. Please do stick it in the comment section below. It's nice to read what other people enjoy, or anything you want to tell us about a particular game. Stick it down below.
Don't forget to put the amount of deaths that we had in Cuphead.
Yep.
And we'll release that community post in a couple of days, as Glenn said. Probably a better idea than mine, in a way.
Well, both excellent ideas, I suppose. But we'll do that. It'll be a bit of fun. I can even give some sort of a hint as to how many it'll be. It'll be a lot. There's your hint.
I'm going to make a guess.
Go on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to say we've died 734 times.
Yeah, that seems a fair approximation.
Yeah, eh?
We'll see.
I haven't checked, by the way. It's on your Switch.
We'll see. But yeah, as Mark said at the beginning, I'm fairly sure he did anyway, don't forget that our website is there. If you want to pick up any eShop credit, you can get your cards on there and get yourself 5% back in cash back to use against a future purchase, as well as some other links to various bits and bobs that you can buy and save yourself a bit of money.
Nice one. Thanks to our Patreons and members, all of you that enjoy the content. And as always, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!